forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and realize that your past doesn't define your future. It's okay to not be perfect and forgive yourself and move forward and just be a better version of yourself and continue to be a better version of yourself.
If you're an entrepreneur who's built success but feels stuck in the grind, this podcast is for you. On the Live More Show, we give you short, powerful conversations to help you become more tax savvy, time rich, and totally free. Here's your host, Melanie Sikma.
All right, I have Dan Rivers here. He went from juggling multiple businesses to finding focus, freedom, and now living a life that he truly loves. Today, he's breaking down how simplifying his business helped him multiply not only his profits, but also his peace. So we're in for a treat today. So let's get right into it. Dan, we've met each other at a mastermind group. We were literally just together in North Carolina and sitting together. And you've shared that one of your biggest lessons over the last few years was learning to not spread yourself too thin. So would you take us back? What was the moment that made you realize that focus was the way forward and helped you move forward in a better way?
Yeah, it was honestly usually December of every year. I reflect. My wife and I do a little bit of goal setting and plan for the next year. And one of the things I started reflecting on was I was just doing so many things, and we'd make a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, but I was doing a lot of things good, but nothing truly great. And if I could just go back, 4 or 5 years when I was focusing on one or two things, I was really great at the craft that I had. And I was just, honestly, I really wasn't making any extra money, and I was tired of being good, not great. So that's really what got me at the end of the year. I was like, it's like what a lot of entrepreneurs do. We just try to keep ourselves busy with a lot of things to do. And so we feel productive. But at the end of the day, I look back and I'm like, well, this company barely made any money. This company lost money. I made all my money in this company. Why don't I just hyper focus on that area?
Yeah, for sure. It's good you realize that because a lot of people that I meet with, I talk to entrepreneurs all day with one-stop tax strategists. And the ones that do really well are the ones that go all in on one business. And then from there, once they have that, everything delegated, it's running smooth, then that's when they step into other things. And so I think that's great you realize that. What helped you decide which business to focus on? Was it like profit, passion, or potential, or kind of a blend of all?
Probably, yeah, definitely a blend of all, but I'd say it was definitely more the potential of it. And then, and what I mean by the potential is I've been in a lot of fields, the real estate field, where you're trading time for money, or even if you build out a team, unless you're really wanting to, sell 1,000 deals and it's just a different game to play. What I would be building on the real estate side couldn't necessarily be sellable or done from other areas of the world. So when I was reflecting back at the end of the year with my wife, like one of the biggest things we love to do is travel. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that. But I can't, if I'm selling real estate or if I'm flipping in an area and I need to be hands-on, I can't do that remotely. Plus it's scalable to a certain degree and it sure isn't, sellable at some point in the future. So that's what really got me to go all in on synergy stays in the short-term rental world was not only, so it was the potential, but even beyond that, it was the potential that I saw in my business partner, who's the short-term rental expert, and who he was and how great he is at his craft. It goes back to what we just talked about. Like, I'm like, wow, we can do something great together. And it's something that could meet my schedule. I can do in other parts of the world. We could do it all over the world. We can do revenue management anywhere. There's an Airbnb. So it just got me super excited and passionate about it because I believe in him. I believe in what we're doing. And I believe it's just something that we could really have take off and help people.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like you kind of, you had a good partner, but then you also did backwards designing. So it's like, what do you want your life to look like? And then designed it backwards from there. That's
100%,
awesome.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
What were some of the biggest mindset shifts that you had to make to go all in on one business instead of juggling several?
First of all, you have to have humility and be humble and realize realize that I just am not great at everything. And if I keep doing this, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to provide that level of service. And I know that there was something better out there for me. I know that I could be better. I know that I could build something great. So it was just getting in the mindset, like, it's okay to focus on one thing. I remember, I think it was Tim Bratz, speaking of the mastermind we were just at, believe it was Tim Bratz was talking to me about how like these billionaires and 100 millionaires, when you're talking to them or if you're in those rooms, you're able to have conversations with them, they all made their money in one area. They made the majority of their money in one area, and everybody wants to diversify when you go diversify in all these different areas, but they all became wealthy in one specific niche. And then once they mastered that and they had it perfect and they built all their wealth, that's when they started getting to that investor quadrant and then start investing in other areas. And that's where it really caught my attention. Like, I'm trying to get rich in 5 different areas or wealthy, and it's not really necessarily working. Why not just hyper focus in one area and just be so great at it that it creates my wealth, and then I can diversify that later on in life into other asset classes or businesses?
Yeah, for sure. It's almost like having the patience to just stay the course, get to that place where then now you can adjust. But it's that focus is the hardest part for us ADHD entrepreneurs, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it's, I feel like it is our superpower and why we're successful, but it's also our kryptonite at the same time. So you got to balance
Totally.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So if our listener right now is kind of like where you were at, where they're spread too thin, what's one practical step that they could take this week, like super practical right now? That what can they do this week to start narrowing down on their focus?
One of the best piece of advice I've heard was take all of your, everything that you're doing and, figure out what your role is. So like, it really depends on who they are. Are they a single entrepreneur? They're the only ones running the company. Do they have a team? But at the end of the day, no matter what that is, my suggestion would be like, take everything you have, find the most important things and time block. And what I mean by that, like, you can time block in a lot of different ways. So what I do is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my job is business development to grow the company and a few other things as well. But that's one of my most important things, grow the company, bring in revenue. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are my revenue generating activity days, whether I'm doing podcast or I'm talking to people or I'm building relationships or I'm figuring out strategic affiliations that I can have, whatever, or training my sales team. Those days are strictly for driving revenue. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays are for basically GSD, get shit done times. Like, you're just there focused, paying bills, dealing with insurance, dealing with contract issues, whatever the case is. And it's something that really stuck out to me is like, when you're bouncing back and forth from the GSD to the RGA stuff, you end up losing a lot of momentum, because if you're trying to create revenue and generate revenue, it's a different mindset you need at that time than dealing with a contractor's invoice that's off. So
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest tips I'd say, is make sure you're intentional about scheduling your day.
I like that. And also, one thing that you didn't touch on, but you said, is kind of know what your biggest priority is to move the business forward. So you are able to time block because you know where your time should be spent. And so that's a good piece too. I was actually just listening to Leila Hormozi's podcast this morning while I was getting ready. And she touched on that. Like what you said is the time blocking and how kind of know what type of role you're in, what's the most important piece. And then don't let yourself get pulled from it, because it is a different mindset. So like she said, almost exactly what you said, but in different words. So that's a
I
good
think she
tip.
copied me. Yeah, she copied me.
She did. She gets all her information from Dan Rivers. I love it. Okay, well, when you decided to go all in on Synergy Stage, your short-term rental management business, what systems or processes made the biggest difference for you for freeing up your time?
I don't know if it's a system or process necessarily, more of defining clearly what me and my partners and our team members' roles are. So I have 2 other partners in that business. One of them's the short-term rental expert. He knows revenue management inside and out, and he knows how to maximize that revenue, and he's just good at it. And then I have my other partner who's awesome on the operational side to put systems in place, make sure we're following KPIs, tracking stuff, helping out with the marketing. And my, strengths are, the financial side, the business development side. So it's really defining where our strengths are, what our roles are, be very clear, have smart goals for all of the high level people in the business. And then from there, it can trickle down to our team, our revenue managers, our admins, our sales team. They can have specific goals as far as, KPI measurable goals. But it's just having clear lanes that we all stay in, and we all collaborate. Kelly Garrett in our mastermind too, she kind of taught us this. It's like, everybody sits at the table on the exec team, and they may all give me their opinions on the sales process. I may give an opinion on the revenue management process and how we could be better or communicate better. But at the end of the day, we all stay in our lanes, and each person that runs that division makes the final decision. They make the final call. So it just keeps it very clear, streamlined, like this is what everybody's role is, what their goals are. And we all have input, but we all just focus and, we all have to be great in our own areas.
Yeah, I like that. We hired a coach in our tax business called Wise Mentoring, and they've helped us do exactly that, just define all of our roles. And then we have something called a no bypass policy. So basically, my sister's the COO of our company. I'm the CEO, but I'm not allowed to make anything that will affect people that she gets that directly report to her. I'm not allowed to delegate anything to them without going through her. And vice versa. She's not allowed to do the same. And so it allows everybody, like you said, to just stay in their lane. And so there's not chaos. It creates a lot of just, smooth processes rather than confusion and chaos. So that's a good tip too. You're full of good tips today, Dan. I love it.
That's right.
What advice would you give to an entrepreneur? Like for me and every other entrepreneur out there, there's a lot of FOMO. So going all in on one thing makes you almost feel like they might feel like they're missing out on other things. So what advice would you give to the person that might be scared to focus on one thing and scared that they might be missing out on other opportunities?
I mean, the answer is you probably are missing out on a couple of other opportunities, but how can you truly know unless you're all in on one area and know if it truly is an opportunity or not? So you're also going to miss out on a lot of things that you could lose a lot of money on and direct your focus wrong and then end up costing you a lot more in the long run. So my advice would be is Tim Ferriss told me this. It was really cool. Dusty, one of our friends, got 15 minutes with Tim Ferriss on a Zoom call once, and he let me ask the question. I asked Tim Ferriss. I just heard him talk. He's a 4-hour Workweek guy. He wrote that book.
Oh, okay.
And I just heard him talk on a podcast, My First Million, about like this guy made 200 million and then committed suicide after it because he just had no happiness or enjoyment. So I asked him, I said, Tim, like, you're amongst 100 millionaires, billionaires, like, what truly makes someone happy in life, joyful in life? And his answer was figuring out a direction or a business or whatever you do, that's something you truly enjoy the journey, not trying to just find the enjoyment in the destination. And I know we hear that all the time. That is extremely powerful, and that's why people, when they retire, they lose their whole identity, and it's gone. And it's because it's finding that enjoyment in what we do. So we don't have to be the most passionate about the specific area we're good at and driving revenue, and it's our biggest income source. But like, as long as you can enjoy the process, enjoy the team, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy what you're building, and you become great at it. Like, that is the key to happiness in life. And that's something I've truly been able to find over time, is that enjoyment in what I'm doing. Not every day. You get kicked in, a lot and things happen, but like, just enjoying the journey and the process of what you're able to build is a powerful, powerful thing. And I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, it's so easy to just, I want to make $10 million and just keep thinking about the 10 million rather than, hey, we just created this process that made our clients so much happier and the communication's in better and like our service is that much better because of what we just created. Like, find enjoyment in that, because that's going to lead to more revenue.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I love that. Well, we'll pivot a little bit to, you mentioned, you've kind of told me about in the past about how you've had a heart surgery and how that was a real turning point for you, not just physically, but mentally. And so how did that experience, maybe you can talk a little bit about it, and then how did the experience shift your perspective on life and business?
Yeah. So, the typical story you've heard on the bad side sometimes of people passing away, where you're playing like basketball or playing a sport and then they didn't realize they had a heart issue. Similar thing happened to me. I was playing football and thank God I only sprained my ankle. And when I went for the sprained ankle, they just heard a murmur. They heard something not beating right. So we went in and obviously had some echocardiograms and some tests, and they realized that my heart was 20% larger than it should have been. And it was an aortic valve that the valve wasn't closing properly. So the blood was flowing back into the aortic chamber. And it obviously I wasn't right at the brink of it, but I had to have surgery within, it was less than a year, where I went in for major open heart surgery where they actually were able to repair it. But at that point, they said, hey, in about 10, 12 years, you're going to have it replaced, which is what happened. And this was at age 16. I was 16 when it happened,
Oh, wow.
freshman in high school. And I was, not as good looking as I am now. I was kind of the dorky kid. All kidding aside. But I was the dorky kid. I was not, I always tell my wife I haven't peaked yet. I'm not going to peak till I'm like 80. So like, I
I'm
definitely didn't peak
surprised
in
you
high.
were the dorky kid.
Oh, I was not like, well, I was kind of smart, but more like dorky. Like I just didn't really fit in a lot of areas. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
I had friends and that was cool. It was just more of, I kind of went more towards like, the not so nice kids. I always told, I'm gonna
Okay.
have the tale of two lives. I was not the nicest person when I was younger. I did a lot of things that stupid young kids do, but like just hung around the wrong crowds. Second half of my life, I'm gonna make everything better though. But that's so like I had a lot of anger and hate because I had this heart surgery. And I was like, not necessarily a why me, but just had this hate. I mean, I was doing stupid things. I was hanging around with the wrong people. Until one day I was hanging around with a guy that ended up getting like, I don't know, robbed at gunpoint when I'm in the car with him and all this stuff. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I on this path with this kid? And like, what's going on
Yeah.
here? So it finally caused me as I got a little bit older and especially into my 20s, it turned from maybe the anger, the hatred to motivation and not being scared to take chances in life because I should be dead and I'm not. So no woe is me. Let's go dominate this world. Let's go do something big in this world. And it ended up giving me that motivation, but it took many years of anger and heartache and I don't know, just not being as good a person as I could be to realize that, hey, let's use this as a motivator, not something to detract me or bring me in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I love that. You've touched on some baggage, maybe regrets, baggage you had in the past, or just choices you made, I guess. You said your past doesn't define your future, though. And you're trying to, so the second time you're doing better than what you did the first time or first half. What advice would you give to someone who's letting yesterday's version of themselves hold them back and stepping forward into a new version of themselves?
Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and realize that your past doesn't define your future as like it is. It took me almost 40 years of my life to forgive my past, to realize that I
Wow.
still can be a good person in the future. I could be a good dad. I could be a good husband, even though I'm still going to make mistakes because I do. Um, I had to let go of the things that I did in my past to be able to move forward. And one thing that I did that really helped is I remember posting on social media maybe a few years ago about that, being like, hey, I'm sorry if I was a jerk to you in the past. Like I wasn't always the nicest person. I did a lot of stupid things. I had a lot of anger and hatred, which caused me to maybe not be the perfect human being when I was younger. But you know what? I'm better now, and I'm not going to let it define me. I'm going to go, and I'm going to be a better person because of it. And again, little things will come back, and I'll still kind of react a way that maybe I used to. But then I catch myself now, and I'm like, all right, time out, regroup. Let's be a better person. And because I want to show my kids that. I want to show my kids that, hey, it's okay to not be perfect and forgive yourself and move forward and just be a better version of yourself and continue to be a better version of yourself. And quite honestly, I think this world needs that more. This world, you see this with, we're not going to get into the news and all stuff, but you see all the bad stuff in the news. We'll keep it at that. And
Yeah.
it's because people have this, I mean, the kids, I know how I felt similar to that, where you feel like you're a loser or like there's something wrong with you, or you're just so angry all the time, or you're just like all this hate and all this. And unfortunately, it's coming out even worse now, where it just be like me, I just fought all the time, fought kids. Now it's getting worse, and it's just, I don't know. People just need to realize that, like, especially kids, don't let anything you did, even something you did yesterday, define who you are in the future. Just try to be better as long as you're trying to be better from it and be a better person for it. It's not an
Yeah.
excuse that you get to keep doing the same thing wrong. But it is something that you could say, hey, you can still be a great person in this world. You got the rest of your life to become great.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't even, knowing you, like how I know you now, I would never guess that you used to be an angry person. So you've done the work, and it's showing. It's definitely showing that you've done the work. And even like we were just talking in North Carolina, we were sitting next to each other at dinner, and you said that you felt like one of the most wealthy people in the world, not because of the money you've made, but because of the life that you've built. And what is like real wealth and joy really mean to you now?
Oh, it's being able to basically write my own schedule and spending a lot of time with the family, travel. I know a lot of people say that, but um, I truly do feel like one of the wealthiest people in the room. I say that a lot of times. Like I'm in rooms with people that are worth $10 million, 100 million, whatever it is. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
they have all the money wealth, but like the true wealth in life is living the life on your terms, the way you want to live it. It's not a Lambo. That is part of wealth. If you want a Lambo and that's the way you want to live it, that may be a part of wealth. But
yeah,
it's as long as you can live the life on the terms that you want, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Not even just life or death. You could fall sickness. All of a sudden tomorrow I'm diagnosed with some crazy cancer or something like that. My life just turned crazy for the worse. So like I want to make sure every day I'm living my life with intention and the way I want to. Like I wake up, I go to I wake up, gym, and also hang out with the family. I take my kids to school. I'm able to pick her up at school most days, not every day. I'm able
yeah,
to have fun with work, do some awesome things at our office at the Helm in North Charleston. We have a golf simulator and all that stuff. So like we hang out in there and
yeah.
maybe, have a beer and play a little golf and talk business and like just enjoy life, enjoy the journey as I was talking about. And that's my main focus. And I feel like between my wife, her success, and where I'm at now in life, I could live the life pretty much the way I want on my terms, and that's why I feel wealthy.
That's awesome. I love that. I always say like true freedom's doing what you want, when you want, where you want, how you want, and with who you want, And just being able to have that true freedom is definitely wealth in my mind. You mentioned your family, and I know that a lot of business owners say that they're building freedom for their family, but then their family barely sees them. How do you personally make sure that you're living what you say that you value? Like, how are you intentional with that?
It's funny, Farley. I was living that world. I was in the corporate world. Not like corporate's bad either. It's like whatever you want to do. But the corporate world is very easy the higher your income is, the more hours. Like it's directly correlated to it. Whereas like
Yeah,
being a business entrepreneur, that's not necessarily the case. You just work a lot of hours, whether you make a little money or a lot of money. But no, but you work them on your terms. But
exactly.
but the corporate world is very much like as I kept moving up in the corporate world, becoming quote unquote successful, um, I would be working crazy hours, have all this extra stress, and I was living the exact opposite what I am now. Making good money in theory, but then I'm not eating healthy, not able to work out, get on a good regimen schedule. And thank God I didn't have kids back then. I didn't start until my 40s. But if I wasn't I'm once divorced. And honestly, wasn't the best husband either. Like I wasn't always there, working a lot, didn't probably support her properly. We ended up just wanting to go in different directions, amicable part. But still, it was just the point is like, in order to, it's so important that money is important. I think it's BS when someone says, "Oh, money's the root of all evil. Money's not important." That's not true. Like you need a certain amount of money, but have a clear game plan on what does that look like. Like when you make 150 grand a year, don't spend 170 and then say I have to make 200 and then spend 220. Like be intentional with your money. Budget your money. I have a bookkeeper literally do a profit and loss statement and balance sheet for my personal
That's
life as
smart.
well, just to keep me on track, make sure I'm good.
Yeah.
Like be intentional with your money, be intentional with what you want. Don't get sucked into the Joneses. And that's what I had to really figure out because I did for a while. And then when I finally met my wife and moved down to Charleston, became an entrepreneur and started this new life, I was a lot more just intentional with time is just more valuable than money. Money is important, but there's got to be a balance. So I have to look not only your, return on investment, ROI, it's your return on time. Like if I do this thing, will I still have the time to live the life I want? And maybe temporarily I won't. Maybe there's like a year or two, I just have to completely sacrifice and go all in, but it's going to open up what I want a year or two from now. I think that's perfectly fine. It doesn't just happen overnight, but have a good plan in place that you can achieve your time goals, not just your financial goals, is what I try to live my life by, and we're finally starting to reap those benefits now.
That's great. I like that. ROT and ROI. So what do you do to be intentional? Do you sit down on Sundays and plan your week, or do you plan a month ahead? Or is it the time blocking that helps you? Just for our listener, what's the most practical step in being intentional?
So it's really hard for me to be intentional. Like my wife, it's a no-brainer. She's very organized, very she's meticulous. Like she is very great at that stuff. It is not easy for me. So it's like I have to force it more. So like the
Yeah.
time blocking has really probably been one of the biggest things to help me force that. Make sure I have all my notes, what I have to do, stay organized there, and then be very intentional about the time. So like on, let's say Monday, I'm going to have, if I can complete these 1 to 3 things, they help move the needle. And that's what I hyper focus on. I am fortunate enough now that I have a team around me that they could take all the day-to-day stuff. Like, we didn't really dive into this, but this is a good tip as far as like do an audit of everything you do and then put next to each one, is it revenue generating and do you enjoy it? And anything you
Yeah.
don't enjoy and doesn't create revenue, hire for it. I have someone doing that, like paying bills, opening mail, all that stuff. And then everything that's revenue generating and or I enjoy it, those are the things I'm doing on my list. And now I'm down to a few things a day that I have to achieve. Not everybody has that luxury. Some people have to take care more than that because they don't have the staff to do that. But that's one of the biggest pieces of advice someone gave me was get an assistant as fast as possible to take all the day-to-day stuff off your plate that's not moving the needle. And then that helps me focus on the things I like to focus on. And so that's how I become more intentional. Roundabout way was get people to do the things I don't want to do, because then I definitely push all that stuff off and procrastinate on those things, and then focus on the things that I won't procrastinate on because I enjoy doing them.
I love it. Yeah. Having the thing that you mentioned, that activity, I had a coach have me do that once, and he called it the will, skill, capacity. And do you have the will? Do you have the desire to do it? Do you have the skill set to do it? And then do you have the capacity or the time? And it's super helpful to do that. And the cool thing that I noticed, it's like for me, the stuff that I'm delegating, I don't want to do, but that's my assistant's dream. She loves it. Like she loves doing all the stuff that I hate doing. So there's people that love doing what we don't like doing. And so it's like a puzzle piece you fit together, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And that's a great point to bring up though. Like don't hire someone with that skill set. You're right. Someone that has the drive to do that. Because if you don't,
Yeah.
then it's just going to get done. I mean, I've done that before. It's just going to get done poorly just by someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Now we'll flip to traveling. We both love to travel. I know that we've talked about that in the past and just some different dreams around that. I know with a newborn, it's probably harder to do it now, but I mean, you're still in building mode. You have 2 little kids, one newborn and one other little one. How have you built your business support the life, like a lifestyle of travel? For once you kick that back into your life again, and then instead of restricting it, because it sounds like you were pretty intentional about that.
Oh yeah, no, even with the newborn, we just got him his passport because we're going to Portugal for a month in December.
That's
So
awesome.
yes, so we're excited for that. It's this cool program that we're doing, but no, we're very intentional while traveling, and because it's not just about being able to see the world, it's also about having my kids experience different cultures and us experience different cultures and different ways people live and different lifestyles and just falling in love with a lot of different areas of the world. So I feel like it's so important education wise, whether it's in the US, outside, it doesn't really matter, but just getting in different areas and different parts of the world or even different cities, because they're all different cultures and different experiences. And then I feel like that's what truly opens up minds to be a little bit more empathetic, understanding, and maybe be able to see different visions. So that's important to me. And how do I do it? The team, I give a big shout out to the team being able to do that. So like when I go away in December, we have it all planned out. We have all of our vacation days. We'll have it all ready to go, that my team is equipped to handle what I may do here day to day. We could still do, I mean, with technologies now, we could still do our regular meetings on Zoom. I'm still able to work from abroad. The cool thing about Europe is you're 6 hours ahead from where we are. So I can get some travels done in the morning, and then I work in the afternoon when people are waking up on the East Coast, and then get stuff done then. So I'm able to still be very specific and spend, 3, 4, 5 hours a day specifically on moving the needle. and then supporting my team, but making sure they're set up to be able to perform at a high level while I'm away.
Yeah. Do you work when you're gone that long, or do you decide to dip out, or do you just work less? What does that look like?
No, intentional. I work intentional. So I
Okay.
wouldn't say less. All right, I do want to rewind back. I went to Italy for 2 months a couple of years ago during the summer. And I was doing too many things, had way too many companies going, too many jobs. And no, I failed at it. I was not great at it. I was my real estate side that I was already had moving well, did well. Everything else just crumbled and just did not do, I wouldn't say crumbled, but just not do well and was just struggling
Yeah.
because I wasn't there and I didn't set those businesses up. But I had like 6 different businesses going on at once. And again, not doing any of them great. And at that point, I was doing them all okay at best. So I think that was one of the key things is now this year when I'm going away, I'm hyper focused. I have 2 businesses. I have my real estate sales, which has a whole team I've been doing 7 years and they can handle it. And then I have Synergy Stays, which we have a team ready to go. And I can do what I need to do in Europe that I could do here. That's a whole reason why I went all in on this, as we talked about earlier. It's a business where I can do in other parts of the world and still be successful. So no, if I'm going away for more than a week, I'm still working on it. Probably even within the week, I'll probably touch little things on the business, but I'm absolutely working in and on the business while I'm away because you got to keep it moving.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. All right. And what's one travel hacker mindset that helps keep your business running smoothly while you're away? Is it planning ahead, just having a team? What's that one tip?
Probably having the right teams and systems and KPIs. So you have your numbers put together. You know exactly what numbers you need to hit, so you can keep tracking them while you're away. Making sure that if you have the right team, and I'm sure you know this, when you have the right team members, because I've had a lot of wrong ones, but when I have the
Yep.
right ones like we do now, you just give them direction and support, and they run. That's it. Most people, they don't need us, holding their hands and teaching them every little step. They just want the guidance, the support, and then they want the ability to be able to crush it at whatever they're doing. And that's what we try to do is give them that power. So I think that's having A players and the right team. I think you mentioned this actually in Asheville as far as like when it's not the right team member, just get rid of them as fast as you can because the right team
Yep.
member, you don't need to coddle them. You just need to give them the resources to be successful.
Yep. I have like the managers rank their subordinates on a scale of A, B, or C. If they're not an A player with just a quick response, then we get rid of them. It's just B players bring down the A players, and it's so important to have A players. Okay. And if you could go back, we're wrapping this up a little bit, but if you could go back and talk to the version of yourself before the heart surgery, what would you tell him about what really matters?
I mean, enjoying life was the one thing and to realize that everybody has a struggle. I think that's one big important. Everybody has struggles. Like and you can compare all day long, like, oh, my heart surgery to someone who's never had surgeries or anything crazy happen to them. Maybe it's a big struggle. And then someone who's had stage 4 cancer that they beat barely and all this like that's not a struggle at all, the heart surgeries. So like it's all relative on what your struggle is. I know you do some amazing things over in Africa helping people who are struggling. Like my struggle is nothing compared to those kids. So like, but everybody has a struggle and it's okay if yours isn't as bad a struggle as someone else or it's easier struggle than someone else. Everybody has struggles and keeping that in mind, I just think that's important to know that like, and I try to drive this and install this in my kids. You could, even though you have struggles, overcome it, be successful. Don't have the victim mentality, because we can use it as a crutch of why we're not going to be successful, or we can use it as a reason to become successful. So that's what I would just tell my younger self is that everybody's going to have problems. You have these problems, but use it as a, way to just be a better person and grow and realize life is short and enjoy it more. Versus hating the world and why me and use it as a reason to maybe not be a good person. So that would be my advice to myself.
Love it.
And I like me. Kelly taught me that. She said, I like me. And repeat that yourself in your mirror. I like me. I'm not perfect, but I like me. Yeah, that would tell them to say that.
You need to be able to sleep with yourself, look yourself in the mirror and say you like yourself. That's great.
Yep.
Our mission statement at One Stop Tax Strategist is to bring peace to taxes and purpose to profits to help you live more. So that's kind of where the show, the name of the show is. The whole purpose of business and the whole purpose of why we do everything is so that we can live more and use our business to live the life we love. So what does live more mean to you right now in this season of your life, if you could summarize it?
I'll do two aspects, business and personal. So for business, the live more is to create an amazing brand and company that's known throughout the industry, that we help people create more revenue in the short-term rentals so that they can have the passive income that they're going for and they can live more themselves. Truly want to help people maximize that so they can live the life that we're all trying to build. And then the personal side is just really making sure that I keep on growing and be a better person every day so I could be a better dad and a better husband and raise some amazing kids that could maybe change the world one day.
Love that. How do you help your clients live more at either two of your businesses?
Everything that we do kind of all comes together under whether we're helping them buy real estate or sell a house, or we're helping them maximize their revenue for the short-term rental. Our whole goal is to help our clients and investor clients or clients just get the best value out of their investment asset. So we want to guide them. We want to give them, hey, you're going to have struggles. Here's how you get past it. We're always available. Like people have bought or sold houses from me years ago. They'll hit me up later on and ask me, questions, and I'm guiding them, giving them contractors. Like I truly want them to be successful in their journey because that's what I'm trying to do, build out wealth. And I want to try to help people build that wealth themselves. So, and with Synergy Stays, like we're always learning and growing. And if we mess up, because everybody messes up and no one's perfect, I literally ask the person like, hey, this one property, it's not performing its best. We could look at it internally as a team. How do we make it operate better? What can we do better? What do we maybe can't do better? What do we have to change about? Like always trying to grow and be better. That's the answer.
Love it. All right. So in closing, if you would like to connect with Dan, make sure to check out the show notes on information on that. I'll put all the links, anything that he wants to provide, I'll add that in there. And Dan, just want to thank you for sharing your story. I always love talking with you privately, but it's cool to bring you on here and just showing our listener what it really looks like to create more focus, profit, freedom, and just time with their family and for the things that they love. And for our listener, the next episode, we're going to keep the momentum going, going to have it packed with even more practical tips that'll help you simplify your business and start living more of the life that you love. So I won't even turn this podcast off. I just let it roll into the next one. I'll see you there.
Appreciate you, Melanie.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd ask that you leave a quick and honest review to help more business owners find the show.